4 graphic novel collections. Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. I have so many graphic novels on my shelves that I haven't read that I am determined that needs to stop. So I am diving into some of these. I'm pretty amazed at what great stories that I have sitting on my shelves that I've never experienced. I have 2 Superman, 1 Star Wars, and 1 Batman to go over. Let me go in the order I read these. First, I picked up Batman Earth 1, the complete collection by Geoff Johns. And man, am I glad I read this. This was phenomenal. Initially, I thought it would be the run-of-the-mill retelling the Batman origin story, blah, blah, blah. We've been there 1,000 times. What he did with the material was make it seem so fresh. This was an absolute page-turner that I loved from beginning to end. Originally, this was put out in 3 volumes over a period of time. Earth 1 came out in 2012. Earth 1 Volume 2 came out in 2015. And Earth 1 Volume 3 came out in 2021. The art in this is nice. I don't have any complaints. Not my favorite art. I really grew to enjoy it by the end. There are a lot of great panels in this. And it's the same story that we've heard or read or seen so many times, but it's the Batman origin story, and it's his introduction to his cast of characters and his villains. But the way that Geoff Johns does this is pretty fresh, and I was never bored with it. Each arc introduces us to new characters, expands the Batman universe, while also developing the characters of Bruce and Alfred. I'm purposefully not giving away any spoilers because, for example, the differences between the Batman that we're used to and the Batman of this alternate universe, because I think that you should really read this and enjoy it. It's a very fast read, and I think spoiling it would do it an injustice. It's really fun to see how Geoff Johns takes what we know as canon and tweaks it and changes it just a bit to make this story fresh, new, and exciting. I highly recommend Batman Earth 1, the complete collection. Next, we have Superman American Alien, and this is done by Max Landis. After reading this, I found out that Max Landis came into a bit of trouble and has been canceled. That wouldn't have stopped me from reading this because I'd already bought it, and I'm going to have to say that I really enjoyed this despite his canceled status. Now, one thing that was jarring is that the way that this is put together kind of matches the thematic element of this. So this is 7 pivotal moments from the life of Superman, and each one is done by a different artist. Initially, that was a little bit hard to get used to, especially because the first one had a very manga style, and that's not a style that I like too much. But there were moments of beauty in this art. So this, again, we're going to be experiencing the Superman mythos from different points in time, how he's learning to deal with his powers, how he deals with certain situations that makes him who he is. I will give you an example of this. For example, that is a beautiful panel. Clark can't control his powers, and he's stuck up in the air as a child, and he can't get down. Meanwhile, his parents are frantic because they don't know what to do. But I'm going to show you what bothered me about this. It was the very manga style art of the faces. For example, that one, it just pulled me out. But every section has a different artist, and some of the art is just gorgeous. My favorite is going to be the issue done by Jay Lee. And in this episode, he first meets Batman. Batman has reason to suspect him. He doesn't know who he is. So he sneaks into Clark's apartment as he's working. I'm going to just show off this because I love this part so much. He slams Clark's face into a computer, and then he does not expect what happens next, where Clark totally takes over the situation. Batman tries to use different tactics to stop Clark, and that has no effect. In fact, this is going to be important to the next couple issues. I really ended up enjoying this. Of the 4, I'm going to say that this was my least favorite, and that should tell you something because this was so good, but it ended up being my number 4 of the ones that I'm going over today. Despite the couple of issues that I had with the art, I would say that this is a very enjoyable graphic novel and that you should check it out. There's Clark right there. The next one is Star Wars Epic Collection. This is the modern era epic collection of Star Wars Volume 1 from 2015 to 2016. Now, I have so many Star Wars epic collections, and I've never read any of them, and I've always wanted to jump in. And I thought this would be the perfect jumping on point. It's the modern era. It's a celebrated run by Jason Aaron. It's the first one. And I'm so glad I read this. This was like watching a movie. So this has arcs. There's Star Wars 1 through 6. Then there's an intermediate issue. Then it goes 8 through 12. And then there's this crossover with a Darth Vader series that was going on concurrently. What I'm gathering is that there was a Star Wars, there was a Darth Vader series, and I think a Princess Leia series going on at the same time. I guess they're going to be putting them all out. So here's the Darth Vader one, and that's going to be number 2. So in the first arc of this, and by the way, the art is really nice in this. I mean, how iconic is this? You in a galaxy far, far away. Boom, Star Wars. This is really cinematic. And then it goes on to tell you that this is taking place right after the Death Star was destroyed. All of the characters are here. There's Han, Luke, Leia, 3PO, R2-D2, and Chewbacca. And of course, the Darth Vader is in this throughout. I won't go into the plot too much, but this was such a rip-roaring fun adventure to read through these issues. I've never had so much fun with Star Wars. Probably, I would say that this was equal to watching a movie. It was so much fun. I'm not big on the Star Wars mythos, but one addition to the mythos that I thought was really interesting that was here was Dr. Aphra. Now, she is a character who is even had her own comic book series. I don't know if I've seen her in any of the shows and movies, but I haven't seen them all. Her character wasn't what was so great. It was her droids. She has a pair of droids that are exactly the same as R2-D2 and C-3PO, but they're evil. And they stole the show. They were hilarious. All he does is go around spouting how much fun he's going to have murdering and torturing everyone that he comes in contact with. So you can imagine this droid with C-3PO's a whining narcissistic voice spouting about like how much fun he's going to have to the level where it just becomes annoying. Yeah, this set is well worth it. If you've never read the Jason Aaron run of Star Wars and you're a fan, this is a great jumping on point. This was just released. It does cost $45, but if you buy it on the secondary market, like in stock trades or something like that, you're going to get it for a lot cheaper. So as Larry's Library would say, don't be a chump. The final graphic novel that I'm going to review today is Superman Up in the Sky. And this was the one that I had the least expectations for just because I'm not a fan of the artist. Now, this was written by Tom King, and I've certainly read a bunch of things by Tom King. And I actually think that I'd read this one before. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the cover underneath. Even I'm not a big fan of the wraparound art. This seems to have been a group of stories, 12. There were 12 stories that are kind of short that were published in those 100-page giant-sized comics that they put out recently. I bought a bunch of those, and I think that's where I recognize some of these. Yeah, that must be it. And I think after that, it was republished as Superman Up in the Sky, a 6-issue miniseries. I'm not quite sure about this. It's a 12-part miniseries that basically fits into about 6 comics. When you start reading this, it's very disjointed. From one issue to the next, things aren't explained, and you kind of have to fill it in. Some parts I thought, oh, maybe this is just like a fever dream, but what happens is, I'm just going to give away a little bit of plot. So Superman has to go on a journey to save a young girl who's not on Earth, and he has to leave behind everybody on Earth. He wonders, is it worth the sacrifice? Is one little girl worth the sacrifice of leaving everybody behind and protecting everyone on Earth? Along the way, he's going to be pulled through time and space, and we're going to come across some of the most famous characters and moments in DC and Superman's history. So, for example, we're going to come across Batman, of course, and Wonder Woman, but we're also going to come across Sergeant Rock, and then we're going to come across this iconic moment where Superman has to race the Flash. There's so many iconic moments in this story, But what really puts this story above everything else is its heart and its emotion. I did not expect to be so emotionally touched by a Superman story. I mean, I was really touched by the end of this. Now, Tom King tries to explore what does it mean to be Superman and what is it like for a super being. And he constantly, the answer to every question is always, he's Superman. And that gets annoying. But what Tom King tries to do is try to get us to understand, what does that mean to be this iconic figure? How does this person have to be and live, and what kind of choices does this person have to make? My favorite issue is where he has to make a deal with the devil. In this case, the devil is Darkseid. I think that's how you say his name. I mean, to me, it's always been spelled like Darkseid, but I believe his name is Darkseid. He needs to find this young girl, but he doesn't know where she is. But Darkseid does. So he makes a deal with the devil. He says, if you want to know her location, then you have to do one thing for me, and you must kill an innocent. Because I need to bring your godhood down. I need to sully your name. I need to make you go against everything that you believe in. And it's a mystery that you're really wondering, like, he agrees to it at the very beginning. That's the first page of the comic. He agrees to the deal, but we don't know what the deal is at the beginning. It's really interesting because I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, how's he going to get out of this one? Is he really going to kill an innocent? And I'm not going to spoil it for you. I thought it was brilliantly done. I think that this comic is in some parts brilliantly written, and it took me a while to get over all of those jumps, because you're going to jump from one vignette to another, and you're not going to see how they're connected. But in the end, it's not going to matter. This is a journey that Superman has to make through his life, through time, through space, through his soul, to get to this young girl. And it's not important for us to see every step along the way. The ending of the comic is so touching. I'm going to have to say that this is a must read. I think the art is okay in this, but what is important is the heart of this story. It is such a good read. You will come away from this thinking of Superman in possibly a whole different light. Tom King did such a great job with these little vignettes. So Garage Geek started right out the gate with 4 winners: Superman, American Alien; Batman, Earth One, the complete collection; Star Wars, Skywalker Strikes, the modern era epic volume 1 for Star Wars; and Superman, Up in the Sky. I hope you enjoyed these quick reviews, and any comments that you have are greatly appreciated.